Are we on, Hanis? All right. Assalamu
Yes, we are.
alaikum, everyone, and welcome to Global Supports for Palestine. Don't miss the bandwagon, a webinar organized by the Malaysian Women Coalition for Al-Quds and Palestine. Now, this evening, we've got three panelists, Brother Muad Khatib, Sister Abeer Barakat, and Brother Ahmad Al-Najjar. Obviously, we can understand that there will be technical glitches in getting them all online. We have Sister Abeer for now. We'll wait for the other two to join us. But in the meantime, let me just give you a quick overview, of our program today. Today's the 15th of May. And back in 1948, this is when the Nakba occurred, or the catastrophe. This is when 750,000 Palestinians were expelled from their towns and villages to make way for Jewish settlers, migrants. Sounds familiar? Yeah, because it's happening even today in Sheikh Jarrah in East Jerusalem, right? They are being forcibly evicted from homes they legally own to make way for settlers, right? This has been at the epicenter for weeks now, and it culminated with the invasion of Al-Aqsa Mosque. And now, obviously, we all know we've got the ongoing attacks on Gaza today, the vicious and vile attacks on Gaza today. Now, this ongoing attack means Gaza is going to need more financial help than before, right? And because of this, MWCQP, the Women Coalition, is extending our campaign for orphans, which we had conducted back in March during our international conference. So extending this project because many more children will be orphaned, unfortunately. We pray Allah protects the people of Gaza, but the reality is we're already dealing with the tragedy here. So all money raised will go towards their food, their medical, and shelter. And we hope to raise 500,000 ringgit in 3 months, inshallah. So please give where you can, give generously. No amount is too small. You can see the bank account details flashing on the screen continuously throughout our program today. Now, without wasting any time, I'm going to go to our first speaker, Sister Abeer Barakat. Now, she was here in Malaysia until February last year. She's gone back to Gaza. She's an activist with Rose to Rose. And welcome, Abeer.
Welcome, Sister Azra. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. First of all, I have to record our heartfelt thanks and gratitude for making this time for us. I understand you're going through extremely challenging times and tremendous pressure every minute of the day, and to still accommodate our request. We thank you very much for that, Abeer, really from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you for supporting us. Actually, you are the ones to be thanked for doing this, for campaigning for us.
It's our responsibility, our duty, right? I mean, every one of us, we're all in this together. Now, if we could just start off with you giving us an update, an overview of what's going on in Gaza.
The news, you cannot really follow the news because it is really accelerating. I stopped counting, but I just looked at the updates from the Ministry of Health just to look at the number of casualties, and the Ministry of Health gave an update until 12 midday today, and there are 139 murders until now, including 93 children. And look at this number: 93 children, 22 women, and 1,000 injuries. So the majority of the targets that the Zionist entity is claiming that they are targeting the Hamas or activists, the targets are actually children, civilians. And until now, they have wiped out families from the register. For example, yesterday, We woke up this morning on the news of, and actually we didn't wake up, we didn't sleep. We heard about the massacre that that happened around 2 a.m. in the morning. 10 children were killed this morning with their mothers. And I guess you can find on social media, if you look for Al-Hadidi family, you will find that this family has been killed completely. They were bombed without warning. This was in the morning. They bombed 2 mosques in Gaza, and they crippled the economy in Gaza. Until now, they had, for example, just before I go live with you on this stream, I was following around 30 minutes before the stream, I was following the news of leveling down a new commercial tower in Gaza called Al-Jala Tower. And in Al-Jala Tower contains many international international media agencies like Associated Press, Al Jazeera, Reuters, etc. So the kind of destruction they are causing in Gaza is massive. I don't know if you have followed that, but this is huge. 60 apartments in this commercial tower. Most of them, they are clinics, advocates, offices, journalists, and media, TVs, radio stations, etc., and some residential apartments in this tower. And add to that the endless bombing of farming lands and people's homes. This is happening on daily basis, and I haven't slept since last night, only for 2 hours. 2 hours is the only thing I got, and not continuously. And since the beginning of this massive, aggression on Gaza, we haven't slept, neither in the day nor in at night. It's really horrible because they keep the bombing constant, so that the people in Gaza would feel unrest and feel tired just in a few days. So the horror that we have seen during the 2014 war in 51 days, we have seen them in this war in a matter of 4 days.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, the massive destruction. Also, within 2 days only, we can see the massive destruction in 2 days. Not even for this. We have seen that 2 days ago, even before the Eid started.
Right, and that's just very few words can describe, right? I mean, what you're going through, and we feel for you, and we wish there was more we can do, but. I'd like to ask you a little bit about how do you feel seeing the growing international support for the cause that we're seeing right now? Am I correct in saying that there is bigger international support now than before with this current attack on Gaza? Is there a greater awareness, realization?
Yes, we can see the support growing from around the world. Actually, this is something we have seen also in 2014. We can see the protests going on around the world, and I received this. I see this on Facebook. Some of my friends send me the videos from their areas in Canada and in Australia, etc. But this is not enough. We don't want people just to go out in protests. The world attention to the Palestinian cause should not be seasonal. That's number one. Number two, we don't want you only to show your anger and your moral support to us. We need you to take action now with your governments. And this is a message to the world. Everyone in the world should write to the parliaments in their countries, and they should ask them to do some pressure on the Israeli government. And Facebook shares and Instagram shares and the protests in the streets are not enough. Okay, I know that this is the beginning. I know that this is it's a good sign that people are getting angry and they are not happy with what is happening, but we don't want the flare of the emotions to be controlling you, and not to think with your brain and to think with an action plan, a systematic action plan, as the Zionists have with the government, because they are controlling the governments of the world, including the Arab governments of the world. So we need to take it to the next level.
Right. And you're very familiar with Malaysia and the scene here, right? I mean, you've been here.
Yeah.
How long did you live here in Malaysia?
You can say accumulatively 3 years. Between I spent each time I was here in Malaysia 1.5 years during my master's degree in 2010 to 12, and during my PhD from 2018 until 2020. So almost you can say 3.5 years.
So what do you hope to see more from us here in Malaysia? What more do you hope to see from us?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I really appreciate the support and the love we see from the Malaysian people on the level of the government and the people. And this is rare. Usually we don't have this kind of support from both the government and the people. When I was in Malaysia, when people ask me, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Gaza, you know, immediately they hug me. They say, we love you. We stand by you. I can see the love. And this is something I'm so proud of it, especially that when I pass the way out of Gaza to another destination in the world, other countries don't show you this kind of support. In fact, they humiliate us just because we are Palestinians. But in Malaysia, I was really proud to say I'm Palestinian. So this kind of support is really wonderful and amazing. But what we need more is real action, especially with the kind of multi-ethnic community that is in Malaysia there. You know, you have Indians, you have Chinese, some of these communities, besides the Malays, of course, you have Muslims, Christians, and other religions. So we need to talk to these people from other religions. We don't have to keep talking to the Muslim community, because the Palestinian cause is not just a Muslim and Islamic issue. It's a global issue. It's a humane issue. We need also to shed light on the suffering of the Christians inside Jerusalem and Bethlehem, because they are partners with us in the crime, you know, in what is happening. They also face the atrocities by the Israelis. They are also being banned from entering their holy sites for pilgrimage. And for example, the Christians in Gaza, they are not given, you know, permission to enter the Palestinian territories for pilgrimage in the West Bank. So they are also partners with us in this suffering. That's why we need in a society like Malaysia to have more spreading more awareness among the other ethnicities and races.
I think you've touched on a very important point, right? That we are a multiracial, multi-religious society here, and we can certainly do much better. And on that note, I would like to go to our next speaker, Brother Muad Khalid. Welcome to our webinar today. It's titled Global Support for Palestine. Don't miss the bandwagon. I would just give a brief overview of Brother Muad. You are a blogger, a translator, a linguist, a student leader, Palestinian human rights activist in occupied Palestine. If you can just tell us, where are you currently speaking to us from? Muad, are you able to hear me?
Sorry, I lost you for a few seconds, but if you ask me where I am, I'm currently in Kufr Kanna, that is in northern Palestine, in the Galil area, close to about an hour and a half far from Jerusalem.
Right. And I understand that your father's recently been arrested by the Israeli occupying forces?
Indeed, yeah, that happened yesterday.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yes, they came. He's a prominent leader in the community, and he used to be the deputy chairperson of the Islamic movement's chairperson, who is Sheikh Raed Salah, who is currently serving time in jail for the exact same reasons that Sheikh Kamal was arrested yesterday. So a police force, a special unit, came to Kufr Kanna and arrested him, and they could have, took him simply, as simple as that. But they stayed in the town, and then youth from the town started gathering up and tried to prevent the arrest of Sheikh Kamal. Then the police responded with live ammunition, and there are about 40 injuries, some with serious injuries. All of that happened because they tried to protest against the arrest of Sheikh Kamal. Now, obviously, this is a political prosecution. Political prosecution for his positions. Everyone is being now persecuted. Anyone whose voice is loud in resisting the oppression of Israel towards Palestinian, whether it is inside Israel, occupied 48 areas, whether it is in the West Bank, in Jerusalem, of course in Gaza, anyone who voices dissent, who voices resistance, who expresses views about our rights and freedoms, and that we deserve simply to live in dignity and to have the freedom of worship, freedom of speech, freedom of living. And so those are targeted. So this is not the first time this happens. We are commemorating the Nakba today, the 15th of May, but actually we are experiencing the Nakba every day. So what happened yesterday is just, like I said, is just it's a representation of the continuous Nakba we are living. Now, currently, Arabs are being lynched in the streets by Jewish mobs. They are being hunted down in cities. People on crossroads were attacked. Yesterday in Yafa, in the city of Java, a whole family was burned using cocktail Molotov cocktails that were thrown at them by Jewish extremists in the city, protected by the Israeli police. So what's happening currently here, especially in Israel, is unprecedented in terms of that it never happened before that the police would use live ammunition inside our towns against our youth. It never happened that Jewish settlers would be allowed to roam freely, armed to the teeth with guns and machine guns, targeting Arabs and in their houses. It never happened. So apparently the Israeli government, given that all Arab countries are silent, all Muslim countries are unfortunately, not even releasing a statement condemning Israel's crimes. It is just going on with whatever it is doing.
Now, you spoke about how Palestinian voices are being silent each time you speak up, right? But I want to pick your thoughts on Palestinian voices, or any voice in support of the Palestinian cause is being silenced across media, right? Social media, and you can see many social media accounts being suspended as we speak now, right? What are your thoughts on this, the silencing of pro-Palestinian voices across the media, especially social media?
Well, Facebook is owned by one of them. And Facebook also owns Instagram. It also owns WhatsApp. So it doesn't really amaze me that they are silencing activists on those platforms. I myself, my accounts have been always deleted and suspended. As a matter of fact, yesterday during the raid on Kokanna, when they came to arrest Sheikh Kamal, my Instagram account was completely frozen. Like, I could not use it. And the moment they left the town, I could access it again. So the level of access the Israeli authorities and their intelligence personnel has to such social media platforms is unbelievable. Not to forget that there was a scandal whereby it was exposed that there is a program called the PRISM, through which the tech giants, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, Facebook, all provided very sensitive information about their users to the American and Israeli intelligence. So unfortunately, we don't really have a control over that. and we are not trying to come up with alternatives. Yes, indeed, we are being silenced in social media, in media in general. Like if you look at the Western media, its coverage of what's happening currently, the massacres that Israel is committing in Gaza, they are not only hiding the facts, they are actually twisting the facts. New York Times, instead of reporting a number of those murdered in Gaza yesterday, actually, attributed that number of kills to Jews, whereas actually they were Palestinians from Gaza. So they reported that 18 people were killed in a shelling, 18 Israelis, but actually they were 18 Palestinians. And when they realized their mistake, they didn't release the same news piece, but with Palestinians. They actually deleted the item, the news. So we are facing discrimination and bias even in the media. And let me be clear and honest, like the Muslim countries, including Malaysia, including Indonesia, are not doing anything. Like we do see that they are extremely strong, that they do have a lot of strength points that they can employ to alleviate the suffering of Palestinians, to make things a bit easier for them, but nothing is being done.
What are you hoping to see from us then?
ليش فتحت الباب? Sorry, I'm with you. Sorry.
What are you hoping to see from us? What more do you hope to see from us?
Well, first of all, like in the past, we used to be happy when we see protests taking place in Arab and Muslim countries. Currently, even protests we do not see. Like such, display of solidarity is extremely important. But further, what really can be useful in pressuring Israel into releasing its grip and stopping, basically to stop killing Palestinians and oppressing them, is that first of all, diplomatic pressure. If a sufficient number of Arab countries and Muslim countries, threatened to the diplomatic ties of Israel, whether directly or indirectly, I am sure that will have an impact. Currently, unfortunately, some countries like the Emirates is normalizing ties with Israel instead of cutting ties with Israel. That means that Israel no longer cares. Currently, the Emirates also opens the gates of countries like Malaysia and Indonesia for Israel, and opens its markets for Israel. So instead of actually doing quite the opposite, when Israel has nothing to fear on that level, the diplomatic level, then it will just carry on with its crimes. The second thing is academic boycott. Israel does care a lot about its image and its prestigious academic institutions. So if, again, from experience, when some European universities cut ties with Israeli universities, Israel went crazy about that. So that is something that can be done. Economic pressure. And that also does have an effect, because for Israel, exports are very important to its economy. If enough companies, after being informed of Israel's crimes, at least I don't want to say like completely stop their economic activities in Israel, but at least decrease it, and be clear that such decrease is due to the fact that Israel is committing crimes against Palestinians, is oppressing them, is basically continuing to occupy them, is demolishing their houses, is annexing whatever left of their lands, is killing its children, is bombing their houses, as is happening in Gaza currently. Then, if such a step is taken by some companies, I'm sure that it will have an impact. But all we are doing right now is holding conferences, releasing condemnation press releases. Even that, we don't see currently. And that's all. That doesn't really pressure Israel into anything. It does not care about who releases what or who says what. as long as its interests are not affected, it will just continue doing what it's doing, massacring Palestinians.
Thank you, Muad. And with that, I'd like to cross over to our third panelist, Ahmed, Brother Ahmed Najjar. Would you like to say something?
If I need to go. So, I mean, if you don't have more questions for me, I really must go. So if there is, I'd be happy to answer, but if not...
I have one last question then. There are still people who are fence sitters, right? They have not decided which side of this issue they are siding. They just, what's your advice to people who are still on the wrong side of history here?
I don't want to tell them please side with Palestinians. I want to tell them please side with humanity. If you are human, please be pro-humanity, not pro-Palestine. If you see that Jewish extremists are roaming the streets, the neighborhoods, the towns, chanting death to Arabs, and Arabs don't do it, then you know which side to side with. If you see armed men walking the streets, hunting down all people who suspect is Arab, dragging them out of their cars, basically beating them to death, then you know which side to side with. If you see Israel launching strike after strike, targeting, civilian structures and buildings, and they know it, and actually they warn those civilians, 1 minute before they target it, then you know which side to side with. If you see the death toll currently, more than 350 kills in Gaza, and only 8 killed in Israel, then you know who targets civilians and who doesn't. That is evidence enough to know which side to side with.
Thank you, Muad. I have to really express our deepest appreciation, heartfelt gratitude for being here in spite of the difficult times you're currently in, and we really truly appreciate it. And inshallah, we will have another session in the future, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Shukran to you all. Barakallah feeku. Thanks for the coverage. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And with that, let's go over to Brother Ahmed Najjar. Are you with us?
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, sister, but I'm having a problem regarding my camera. And this StreamYard is not working on my Mac. I don't know what's wrong. But at least, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, we hear you. Right. So once again, welcome to our show. And again, thank you very much for accommodating our request. We've been getting your invaluable updates from Gaza, not just daily, it's by the minute almost. And I truly appreciate you making the time for us. And this will be the 4th major attack since 2009. Am I correct?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And what do you see different this time around?
First of all, thank you very much, Sister Azra. And I'd like to convey my Eid greetings, first of all, to all the people here, to our moderator, Sister Azra, to dear Sister Abeer Barakat, dear Brother Muad Al-Khatib, and to all our viewers and listeners. People are listening to me, they cannot view me. And I'd like also to give my deepest condolences to the families of the martyrs, and my prayers to the people who were wounded during the ongoing war in Gaza, to wish them a speedy recovery, inshallah. There is a big difference between the current war and the previous ones. They have started from the point they have ended the last one. The huge attacks and the massive bombardments and the unimaginable brutality can be easily seen. They have shown us their real brutal nature. They have shown their power and strength against children, women, and the elderly. The Zionist entity is not leaving a single centimeter inside the Gaza Strip without bombing it. Just a short time ago, they have totally destroyed Al Jalal Tower, which is a place for several media outlets and several TVs and the channels like Al Jazeera, because they don't want anybody to see what they are doing against the Gaza Strip. As I said, the size of destruction, the size of death also is unimaginable. So far, 140 people plus, more than 1,000 people, 140 plus were murdered. More than 1,000 people were injured. Hundreds of houses and of institutions were intentionally targeted. Almost all the governmental buildings were destroyed. Mosques were destroyed. Hospitals were intentionally targeted, and some of them received damage. Schools also, we have a number of schools. Can you hear me, sister?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, because I think I'm facing an internet problem also. Anyway, so many schools were intentionally targeted. Among the tens of the children who were murdered, a number of students also. As I said, the Zionists are showing their real brutal nature to the whole world. But unfortunately, this world is still complicit by the Zionists, and they are not showing the real humanity they have. They haven't attempted to curb the Zionist aggression and to stop the murder and the killing against the Palestinian people.
Now, I wanted to speak a little bit about the media, because you have experience in the media, yeah, Brother Ahmed?
Yes.
Are you seeing anything different in the media coverage this time around?
To be honest, it is same like every other aggression or attack against the Palestinians. Those noble countries and noble people try to be neutral and sometimes to support the oppressed people. But unfortunately, the foreign media, almost all of them are sided by the Zionist side, and they all the time try to adopt the narrative of the Zionists. There is too much bias regarding the coverage of what is happening inside the Gaza Strip. The Palestinians and some of their friends all over the world, they try to spread the truth and tell people what is happening. But unfortunately, the policies of Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, YouTube, all of them are trying to block the Palestinian content and to stop us from spreading the reality and the truth all over the world. The media people here in the Gaza Strip and in Palestine also are being subjected to too much oppression. Al-Aqsa TV and radio and many of the offices of the media outlets here in Palestine were intentionally targeted when they have targeted the offices of the media people in Al Jawhara Tower, in the Shuruq Tower, and today in Al Jalal Tower. They want to silence the Palestinian voice and the voice of the truth and reality, and just to let the people all over the world hear their own narrative only.
So on that note, what can people like us do? Because we still would like to share as much news as we can to try and...
There is too much noise. Is it my mobile or... Can you hear the noise?
There is some distortion, but if you like, we can continue because we can still make out what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah? But just a couple more questions. I don't want to keep you too long either. I understand, this situation there is quite volatile. Let's just go to the... there was a recent controversy on funds raised for Palestine not reaching Palestinians. Are you familiar with that? here in Malaysia. There was a recent controversy. If you can touch on that.
Yes. I've heard about this. Unfortunately, some people are trying to spread lies about what is happening regarding the charitable efforts and the donations collected by Malaysian charities and other charities all over the world. The Zionist entity, the Israeli occupation, all the time, it tries its best to question the credibility of the charities that are trying to help the oppressed people, that are trying to help the widows, the orphans, the people who have lost their houses, the innocent people, the civilian people. They try to question this credibility, and they try all the time to make people and benevolent donors and generous donors
We've just lost you, Brother Ahmed.
like this. These people are doing a wonderful job to the Zionist occupation. We'd like to call all the generous people who have always stretched a hand of help to the Palestinians, particularly the Malaysian people. And as I always say, if we had another country, another people like the Malaysian people, Palestine would have been liberated a very long time ago. We really appreciate and salute the efforts done by all Malaysian brothers and sisters, mainly by the government. And I'd like also to send my greetings to His Excellency, the Prime Minister, His Tan Siri Datu Haji Muhyiddin bin Muhammad, and also the special envoy of the Prime Minister to the Middle East, Tuangoro Datu Siri Haji Abdul Hadi Awang, for their very strong stances and positions with the Palestinians. They have shown the position of Malaysia, that Malaysia, with its all people from the different races, they will stand by Palestine till the liberation of Beit al-Maqdis. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm calling these people who have never neglected us and who are still donating for Palestine to be sure and to be happy about the money they give, because every single ringgit our brothers and sisters donate from Malaysia reaches its destination. And also something else, when the donor tries to give one single ringgit into the hand of any charity like Viva Palestina, like Muslim Care, like Amal Palestine, like any other Malaysian charities, this ringgit falls into the hand of Allah Azza wa Jal before it falls into the hand of the one you are donating money to. So, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, without your help, Palestine wouldn't have survived. All the money that is sent to you reach the destination here. There are some people, and I know some of them by their names, they have been here in Gaza under house arrest because they were accused of being collaborators with the Zionists. Now they are making live broadcasts in Malaysia telling people don't donate to the Palestinians because they steal the money. You can come, anyone can come to Palestine. It's difficult right now to come, but we can send all the documents, we can provide all the transparency needed to prove to you that your money has reached the needy people. We have here many projects which were donated and which were made and built by Malaysian charities. And right now, wallahi, I after maybe 15 minutes, I have to go outside to distribute aid and support which was sent by Muslim Care Malaysia. And Muslim Care Malaysia is a very famous charity there. Maybe Sister Azra, you have seen the videos that we have made here on the ground. We are
yes, I have, yes,
to too much danger in order to distribute aid. And also our brothers in Viva Palestina are doing a great job and also the other charities are doing a great job in helping the Palestinians. Just to sum up, we want the Malaysian people and all the people all over the world not to listen to those liars, to those collaborators, to those Zionists. To be a Zionist, you don't need to have a Zionist heart or a Zionist blood. Many Arabs, unfortunately, and many Muslims, unfortunately, are more Zionist than the Zionists themselves.
Thank you very much, Brother Ahmed, for that clarification. It's really, really helpful. Yeah, I think I will let you go now with your. I'm sure you mentioned you've got something to do in 15 minutes. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us.
Sister Azra, I'd like to add something.
Sure, yes.
Regarding the aid that is sent to Palestine. It's not only money that is needed. Money is very important. As you have heard and you have seen, hundreds of houses were totally destroyed and completely demolished. And one single house at least costs $50,000 to $70,000. So money is needed. The towers, every tower is equivalent to a whole neighborhood, sister. When they target a tower, they say that the Zionists have destroyed a building, but in reality, this tower is a whole neighborhood, and when it falls down on at least an area of 3 to 4 other neighborhoods. Many houses and many buildings, many institutions are badly damaged because of the destruction of such towers. Money is needed, but also other things are needed. Awareness is very important. When people are easily deceived by some collaborators who try to spread lies and false news about the fate of donations and the fate of charity money that is sent to Palestine, this is not good. We need people to know. We need them to search by themselves and to know reality. Also, the awareness can come from different areas or sides. We have recently started to implement a twinning program between schools here in Gaza and schools in Italy. And before I traveled to Malaysia 8 years ago, I also implemented, as you know, I'm working at the Ministry of Education. I've implemented twinning programs between schools in Italy, in Ireland, in South Africa. And I tried to implement twinning programs with Malaysian schools. So this is a call upon all the students' unions, either in universities or in schools. And this is a call upon all the charities concerned that we in the Ministry of Education here are ready to implement twinning programs between schools in Gaza and schools in Malaysia. And here I'm not talking about financial twinning. We need to tell people about reality. We need to tell people about the hopes and the fears of our students. We need to have partners in Malaysia and in other places. You know, with all respect to our Christian brothers and sisters all over the world, we do consider them our friends, our brothers, our sisters. But I'd like to start also twinning programs with Muslim countries, because we are brothers and sisters. As Allah Azza wa Jal says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. We need to embody this verse. We need to let people know each other. Also, I want to call upon every Muslim and non-Muslim all over the world, particularly in Malaysia. We'd like them to join BDS. BDS movement is doing a wonderful job. We need you to boycott all the Zionist products. We need you to be involved in such movement. Many people love the Mujahideen who are defending us here in Gaza and all over the world. But not everybody needs to have a weapon in his hand, a real weapon. As our Professor Awanko from USIM said, we have our weapons in our hands. Everyone, Muslim and non-Muslim, has a weapon in his hand. It is his keyboard or his pen. We need you to be our ambassadors. We need you to be our tongues, to talk on behalf of us, to spread the truth, to spread what is happening all over the world. We need the peoples all over the world to try to exert some pressure over their members of the parliament, either in Malaysia or any other country. You can tell them to do more and more for Palestine. Malaysia is a very strong country. Malaysia has a very strong influence in the Security Council and in the United Nations. Malaysia can do more and more. Alhamdulillah, as I said, we are very grateful to what Malaysia has already done, but we are looking forward for more and more. People, average people, normal people can write essays, can spread the news. Every single deed make a difference. We need everyone, either a Muslim or a non-Muslim, to bear the concern and the worry in his heart or her heart. Palestine is the first qibla of all Muslims, and it is in the same time the cradle of Jesus, والسلام, peace be upon him. Palestine is the land of peace. We need it to return to peace. Right now, peace is not there anymore because killing, murder, massacres, carnages are everywhere. Again, we want people everywhere to increase their awareness. And this is my last, inshallah, sentence is about, again, the credibility and the questioning of the credibility of those people collecting donations for Palestine. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah number 2 in Al-Quran, verse number 120, it says, وَلَن تَرْضَ عَنْكَ الْيَهُودِ. Now, unfortunately, Sister Azra, we as Palestinians and Muslims, we have nothing negative against the Jews because they are Jews. We do love them and we pray to Almighty Allah to guide them and to become our friends and brothers and sisters. Unfortunately, the occupiers of our land happen to be Jews. Unfortunately, those people who are killing us, who are murdering us day and night are Jews. We do not hate the Jews because they are Jews, but because they are killing us day and night. If the occupiers of our country were Arabs, we would fight them. If the occupiers of our country were Malaysians, we would think twice because you have always helped us. But finally, we will fight because the problem is with the occupier, not with his religion or race. So there's an equation. You need to know who the Zionist occupiers are fighting, who they are killing, then you know the truth. Now, the Zionists are killing Gaza, and those people who are calling upon the Malaysian brothers and sisters don't donate to Gaza, they want to weaken Gaza. Because if money comes to Gaza, Gaza, inshallah, can buy food and drink for the people who became homeless. If money comes to Gaza, we can pay for the rent for new houses instead of those which were destroyed. Right now, as I told you, I'm going to distribute food parcels. I'm going to distribute some financial aid for those people to rent new houses. We are going to provide ready-made meals for these people. So everybody has his or her duty to be done. We call upon everybody to start and rethink about the current situation and to consider himself or to consider that Al-Aqsa or Palestine is his or her own duty. Everyone should think carefully and should try to find something to help the Palestinians. The ways of help are too many. It's not only money. It is awareness. It is supporting the Palestinians by all means available. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Barakallah fikum.
No, thank you very much for that passionate and inspiring call and plea. And I hope everybody was listening and will answer that call. Sister Abeer, have you got any final words to add?
Yes, well, actually, he didn't leave me anything else to add. He's wonderful. He has summarized it all. He mentioned everything, but there is one point I would like to highlight on. in the previous year and years, and because of the previous aggressions on Gaza since 2008, 12, 14, and now, the humanitarian organizations have always focused on the destruction on Gaza, which made Gazans look like beggars. And this is something that we don't like. We don't want you to think when we ask you for support that we only want your financial support, because this is something that means we are beggars. We are only needing money, and that's not the truth. We are people who are proud of their land, and in fact, my grandfather in Yafa, he owned acres of lands, alhamdulillah. So I can say that I'm a proud person who was with a huge amount of land, all right? So I do not like it when someone, gives me zakah or sadaqah and thinks that I'm poor and I need a meal or something like this. No, this is not the kind of support, and this is not the kind of image that we wanted to be, portrayed about us. When we say support, we mean action. So please, if you think that you cannot donate, and if you feel that Palestinians only need donations from you, like what is happening by from our brothers and sisters in the Gulf countries, some of them, I mean, when they say, okay, we have donated a lot to the Palestinians, what else do they want? Okay, we don't want your donations. If this is what you think we want from you, we want you to take action as humans, as Muslims, towards your other brothers and sisters in Palestine. We want you to help stopping the oppression that we are living under. We want you to take action into international courts and into international parliaments, into the UN. We want you to liberate us from this oppression we are living under. We want you to lift this Zionist occupation from our land. This is exactly what we want. And once this is done, then we don't need anything from any other part of the world or from any other person, right? So I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this point because it really angers me. Every time we talk about Palestine, we mention only donations. No, please do not summarize the cause of Palestine into donations, because this is not the true image. Alhamdulillah, we have also benevolent people, because here inside Gaza as well, we have some rich people, and they are donating, and they are sponsoring the orphans, and they are sponsoring a lot of families. So here we have, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, a community that has takaful, meaning we are, sponsoring each other, helping each other, right? But we need you to be standing with us, and do not think that the cause of Palestine is only Gaza. This is something else. This is another misconception. Palestine is not Gaza. What is happening now in Gaza is just a kind of a resistance and an uprising against what is happening in Al-Quds. Al-Quds asked Gaza for help, and Gaza offered this help with the kind of, with what Hamas is doing right now, and with the kind of people are being patient for being bombed. Yes, our children are being killed, our houses are being bombed. Why? Because we want to stand up for Al-Aqsa, Masjid Al-Aqsa, and Al-Quds. So we are helping each other. We are standing for each other in Palestine. And if you don't want to stand up with us, then we don't need your donation. That's all.
Perfect, Abeer, perfect. Because this brings us to the three resolutions from our international conference that we held earlier this year, and 3S, right? Support the cause, spread the word, and sow the seeds to a free Palestine. We must act now. There is no more sitting on the fence. There is no more waiting to see. Not acting, inaction is being complicit with what Israel is doing now, being complicit with Israel's atrocities in Zionism. That's, I think we need to stress that. You are so right. It's time to act now and stand in solidarity. And Brother Ahmed mentioned BDS, and that is a wonderful way forward, right? A non-violent movement that started in 2005 by the Palestinian civil societies themselves, modeled after the South African anti-apartheid boycott movement. And we need to jump on this bandwagon. BDS, boycott, divest, and sanction. And there are four targets currently, right? We've got Puma, we've got HP, we've got Caterpillar, G4S. These are the 4 brands we can start boycotting, among others. And these are little things that you may think it's little to not buy the next HP printer or to not purchase anything Puma, right? You might think it's little, but it goes a long way. It sends a message that we're not going to stand for Israeli apartheid practices anymore, right? Thank you.
You know what?
Abeer.
I would like to add something about this, the boycott. I have noticed that the other day I wanted to buy a laptop, and I was looking for a good one, and they told me the only brand we have in Gaza that is available is HP. And I said, oh my God, we are supposed to boycott HP. And they say, you know what? The Israelis are not making is not giving any license to any other brand to enter except this one. So they are being manipulating us. Okay, you make this kind of BDS outside Palestine, and they force us to use it. Okay, and it's a how can I say? This is a vicious plan. Believe me. There are a lot to talk about this, but this is not the platform to talk about it. Just take action in your country with BDS, and we are thankful for you.
BDS, that's right? BDS in Malaysia, BDS Malaysia is very active in its boycott activities. So to all the viewers tuning in, look up BDS Malaysia, right? We're active in it. There are lots of information on our Facebook, on our website. So please look it up. Get on this BDS bandwagon. Be on the right side of history. All the cliches you can think of, this is it. This is the time, right? Thank you, Abeer. And I would like to record our deepest thanks to Brother Ahmed and Muad who've had to leave us. You truly represent the legendary grit and spirit of the Palestinians that we hear of, right? So much. And thank you everyone for tuning in. From Malaysia and everywhere else. And remember the 3S, support the cause, spread the word, and be among those who sow the seeds to a free Palestine. You want to be among those people who are sowing the seeds to a free Palestine. And BDS, do not forget that. So assalamu alaikum, Abeer. It was wonderful seeing you again, and may Allah protect all of you, give you the strength to overcome and face these challenges you're currently facing, and inshallah we will meet again, inshallah.
Inshallah. Salamat Hari Raya Eid al-Fitr, inshallah.
Yes, Eid Mubarak to you too.
Eid Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum.